Hey everybody, it's the end of summer. The day is finally here. I am going to teach you how to take these San Marzano tomatoes and turn them into big jars of San Marzano tomatoes. I jar them whole. I'm going to show you how to do the whole process, but one 50-pound bushel should get you about 18 jars this size. And you were going to be so happy you did it, because all winter long you were going to be opening these jars up to make lasagnas, pastas, butter chicken, and it is going to smell like opening up a jar of summer, which is going to mean a lot in Canada in February, where it is pretty dreadful here. Let's get going. Okay, let's go through what we're going to need. Obviously, we're going to need bushels of tomatoes. You're going to need 1 or 2 trays for washing, a tray for cooling, a bin to put your skins, a bin for your final product, and a large mixing bowl to put your scored washed tomatoes. Okay, we're going to need a large pot to boil the jarred tomatoes. You're going to need another large pot, not quite as big, to blanch your scored tomatoes. And we are obviously going to need lots of jars. You're going to need about 18 of these, the regular size Bernardine mason jars for every bushel. You are also going to need one of these things. I will link to it in the video below. You can get them on Amazon really cheap. It comes in a great little kit. This is for picking up really hot jars and for lowering jars into the hot boiling water without burning yourself. This is essential for doing this. You will also need some sort of large slotted spoon for scooping blanched tomatoes out of the hot water. Okay, so you take a tomato from your washing bin, you're gonna take your paring knife and carefully, you're gonna cut an X through that. What this does is when you're blanching the tomato, it lets it helps the skin loosen up and makes it really easy to peel. So that's it. You see a blemish like that, it's okay just to cut it right off. Just cut through the X's. Just keep cutting through those stem marks. You'll get used to really quickly how many you need to fill the blanching pot, and just keep doing that. So after you score the tops, as you can see, you got the little X there, you blanch them. And now this could be, depending on how many you're putting there, it could be, if it's a small quantity, it could be as fast as a minute and they're going to be blanched. I put in a ton, so this is typically about a 5-minute blanch, to be honest. And we just pull them out into a mixing bowl or a hotel pan and get ready to cool them. As soon as you've seen those skins split like that along the side, they're ready. And just using a large slotted spoon, just scoop them all out. And from there, we take the blanched tomatoes, we put them in our cooling tray. It's gonna take about 5 minutes for those to be cool. You're gonna start to peel them. I put the skins in here, finished product in here, and then we take that back into the house and they go into the jars. So while they're cooling, I just prep more tomatoes. It's an assembly line. That's how you have to think of it. I'm always a little rusty at the beginning of the year, but after the first bushel, I get the process down again. And it's just keep moving, keep scoring your tomatoes, keep boiling those jars, keep cooling off the blanched ones, and you will be through your 1 or 2 bushels in no time. Me, when you're done, will be still working on the 11 that I have. What was I thinking? Oh my God. So these are cool enough now to handle, and these skins just start to come off very easily. You'll get some that are going to be stubborn, right? Like the top of this one's a little stubborn, so just take your knife, scrape it up a bit. I like to cut the little stem spot off. And that's it. Skin's here, finished product there. And just keep going. You're gonna do better with a sharper knife than a dull one. If your knife's a little dull, either grab a sharp one or run it over a stone. Dull knives is how you cut yourself, because it's harder to cut through the skin or cut through the top of the tomato off, and you end up slipping and cutting yourself. Okay, once your tomatoes are peeled, you bring them into the house, and hopefully you've got an assembly line set up. You take a clean jar, a little bit of real lemon, just some citric acid, a couple squirts like that, big pinch of Maldon salt, and you just fill it. Leave all the liquid you can behind. The tomatoes have retained enough. You will not need all this clear water that always ends up in the bottom of your mixing bowl, your hotel pan, or whatever you're using. Just stuff these. Obviously, you do this with clean hands. Like your hands, I wash my hands like 100 times a day while I'm doing this. You can use the black gloves if you want, but just you don't need them. Just keep washing your hands. Fill them up to right at the top of the lip here. Take a paper towel, clean up the outside, have your lid ready to go. Lid on, screw that tight like that, and we're ready to boil them. Okay, so we've got a jar of peeled tomatoes, lids on tight, citrus and salt are in there. How do you get it into the pot? You need one of these. I will link to it below, where you can buy it on Amazon. Most kitchen stores will have a kit like this, but all you do is use it to grab onto the side, very carefully lower this into the pot. Try not to tap it on an angle. About 3 times I've broken a jar, and if it does create quite a mess. You can see I broke one last night. You can see there's a lot of tomato stuff floating around in there. This is a pretty big pot. I think this takes about 8 of these jars. We want to make sure we fill them so the water comes up over top of the lids. And we are going to boil these for 45 minutes to an hour. There we go. When you do this part of the process correctly, your tomatoes are safe in a storage room, again, for 18 months. So the lids are covered in water. I'm going to put this lid back on, and I'm going to let this set at a sort of a medium-high boil for about 45 minutes. When we take them out, you get to see the fun little trick that we know that they're sealed properly. Okay, so these have been boiling for about 45 minutes. And the next step is pretty easy. You just reach in with a little clamp and lift it out. Okay, so place them down in your little area you've got set up. You will notice these have all been cooling for a while. You can probably see this hasn't popped out. I just took this out. These ones have all popped. So as it cools in about an hour, as this thing repressurizes, it's going to pull the top down and you will hear a popping sound. You can tell if you're not in the room when it happens. You can tell when you just tap on them. It feels very firm, tight, and you can see it's actually concaved down in. And that's all you're waiting for. Pull it out, place it on your counter, let it cool. In about an hour or so, that lid will pop down and you're good to go. You did it. Now you have tons of tomatoes. You're gonna really enjoy opening these up all winter long. I promise to get you guys a ton of recipes that use these tomatoes, so get cracking, go get a couple bushels, and let me know how it goes. If you have any questions on the process, just throw them into the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. Go tomatoes.